Okay, I think we're good to get started. So good afternoon again. My name is Christian. I'm part of the marketing team here at CR Group, and I'll be here in the background to help with today's presentation, as well as relay any questions that you might have. Welcome to GP to Business Central Shootout, everything you need to know about migrating to the cloud. Your host today is going to be CR Group Business Solutions Consultant, Leanne Virches. And now for a couple housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. It will be sent out by email for you to share with colleagues after within a couple of business days. Ask questions. Please use the webinar chat panel to send them in, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. After today's webinar, you can contact us to learn more about our migration program and any questions that might be specific to your business about Business Central. And the agenda. So a couple things we'll be talking about today is business benefits of moving to the cloud, overview of Business Central and a demonstration, CR Group's assessment program, as well as licensing overview. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Leanne.
Thank you, Christian. Welcome, everyone. So let's get started with the benefits of moving to the cloud. As we all know, technology changes rapidly, and cloud technology is here now and continues to be the way of the future. Dynamics 365 Business Central is cloud. Microsoft sees the benefits of moving to the cloud in three big buckets. You and your business can stay current on the latest technology, gain access to Microsoft's full stack of cloud services, advance integration seamlessly with Outlook, Office, and Power Platform, and have an end-to-end view of your business using real-time data and business analytics. You can share data effortlessly with Dynamics 365 Sales and other Dynamics 365 applications. Here at CRG, we are seeing more and more of our clients interested in moving to the cloud, and the only ones that are deploying on-premise currently are those who actually don't have the access to the product currently, and for us, that's most of our Caribbean clients. Another value of moving to Business Central is reduced costs and freeing up resources. You can avoid future software upgrades, which oftentimes can also be expensive if it also includes major hardware upgrades like servers at the same time. Microsoft releases major updates in the spring and fall each year, and you automatically have access to those updates with your subscription, so you're always on the latest version of Business Central. You can eliminate maintenance tasks and free up your IT resources. Improve your infrastructure management with the Microsoft Azure included with Dynamics 365 Business Central pricing. And finally, improve security, privacy, and reliability. Scale with flexibility to match your business needs. Unmatched security and governance. Microsoft claims there is no on-premise security that is more secure than their cloud. So the value of Business Central. There's some key points listed here that I'd like to expand on. First of all, it is built with modern architecture, compatible with both web and mobile devices. It does come with a fully functional mobile app, so users can access Business Central from their smartphone or tablet device, as well as their desktop or laptop computer. Currently, you have two options to pick from. There still is a cloud and an on-premise version. Business Central has some really deep business intelligent capabilities. Power BI is built right into it. And it also allows any user to quite easily expose what is called the data feeds, which allow you to open up a data set in Power BI or even Excel and drop it into a pivot table. And when you do this, you are reading data in real time from the cloud. You can access and analyze data across multiple dimensions to perform ad hoc customized reporting, use Power BI to create dashboards. There's deep workflow capability that exists throughout the system. And if you work with the mobile app, you can approve those workflows right from your phone, like timesheets. The functionality mirrors Dynamics GP with all the modules you expect to see: core financials, bank rec, fixed assets, project inventory, etc. Microsoft has developed a cloud migration tool, which we can bring across 70 to 80% of your data, making the transition that much easier. And overall, we see faster user adoption to the product. The user interface is clean and user-friendly, and there is the ability to personalize per user within Business Central, which we'll see in the demo. You get the same familiar interface as the Office tools you already know, like Outlook, Word, Excel. There's less training time, which means quicker adoption for your employees. Overall, we get less questions from users once they have received training and implemented the product. And the last note here is that you can extend Business Central with the Microsoft Power Platform. Get the right fit for your business without complicating future upgrades. Even though it's a cloud product, you can still customize Business Central if your business requires something tailored specific to you. And our team here is able to take care of that for you, and we have done some of that already. Microsoft has a full list of app extensions already available that work with Business Central for times when the out-of-the-box solution doesn't quite reach far enough to meet your business needs. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is a business management solution that's connecting people and processes in all new ways. It is functionally deep and rich, owning to Microsoft's decades of expertise in business applications development, yet tailored specifically to the needs of small and medium businesses. From day one, Business Central drives efficiency in financial management, sales and service management, project management. In Business Central, they call this jobs, and it seems to be simpler and easier to use. Microsoft has removed that complexity of the configuration with the contract and project hierarchy that GP has. The setup windows are cleaner, and you can still use templates for job setups. There's deep supply chain management capabilities, from simple distribution to more sophisticated and complex warehousing and manufacturing capabilities. And from a reporting perspective, it's quite good. It comes with out-of-the-box financial statements. There's a balance sheet, an income statement, statement of cash flows. There's something called analysis views. And then all of this gets wrapped with Power BI. And despite its ease of use and low cost of ownership, Business Central is a full-featured solution. CRG has been doing these implementations for the past couple of years now, and our implementations have ranged from simple scenarios with core financials and 2 to 3 users, all the way up to more sophisticated implementations that might have 20, 30 users, fully integrated with CRM and Shopify for sales orders. Based on our experience, we've put together the team's top 10 list of moving to Business Central. Number 1, the user interface and speed. It feels smooth and modern. Extensive use of filter list views, which are like a GP smart list. So for those of you who are attached to the smart list function in GP, they've got something here for you. They're everywhere through the system, and you'll see that in the demo. Integration to Outlook. You can interact with master records such as customers, vendors, items, purchase and sales quotes, orders, and invoices, all within Outlook, which reads in real time and publishes back into Business Central. There's a fully functional app for your smartphone or tablet, and it works with both Android and Apple operating systems. A fully functional search feature called the Tell Me What You Want to Do that works similar to a Google search. It bases the chart of accounts on a single segment supported by financial dimensions, which is a major difference from GP. It makes working with GL accounts simpler and easier to use, and you can default dimensions to master records such as customers, vendors, items, and jobs, making data entry that much more efficient. Web services are built in, such as the foreign exchange rate calculator that can read the daily exchange rate from the Bank of Canada, so no more having to track exchange rates manually. It also comes with a feature that integrates with the BankRec module, providing that your banking institution supports it. And this feature has the ability to auto-match deposits, checks, EFT payments against records you've posted in Business Central, and takes away the mundane ticking of bank recs and automates it. Simplicity of the project or jobs module touched on earlier. And the OData feeds, the data sets that support Power BI. These can also be opened up in Excel or a pivot table using real time and fed back to BC. BC comes with a default integration to Microsoft CRM, account records in CRM, and customer records in Business Central can stay synchronized. So if you make changes to one record in one system or the other one gets the change. You can actually have your sales team out on the road creating sales quotes and orders that once they're approved get dropped into Business Central. You can run any pick, pack, ship process that you need, and then the customer invoice gets generated, and that invoice now gets synchronized back to CRM. So with all of that being said, the main attraction of today's show is the demo of Business Central. So I'm just going to pull that up onto my screen. So here's my homepage as I log into Business Central. And what you'll notice when you first log in is there's a lot of information already readily available right off the main page. As I scroll across the top, I see the company I'm in. I see a variety of menus here with some drop downs, and I can access other menus from each of these headings up here. I've also got some shortcuts here, so you can bookmark favorite links for fields and screens that you access on a regular basis. As I move down, there's actions, there's activities. You know, it highlights the best-selling item sold this month, for example. What your current sales are, overdue sales invoice, overdue purchase, and all of these are drilled down. So if I click on any one of these fields, I can drill down into further information. So now I can actually see that listing of invoices that's creating that balance on my homepage. There's all these tiles. The tiles are clickable. I can see if there's, you know, anything that's ongoing for sales and purchases, if there's incoming documents, email status, if there's approvals that are waiting approval, I can see that here. As I move down, you know, there's charts and graphs that can be put on here that are reading into Power BI. I can bookmark favorite accounts. So if there's certain accounts that I want to see on my homepage on a regular basis, there's even a mini trial balance down here. So the homepage right off the top has a lot of great information for the user. Now, what is determining the content that actually is on my homepage is what's called the role center. And if I was to go up here into my settings, you'll see that the role that I'm logged into right now is the business manager. And if I was to change that down to, say, a project manager, you'll notice that my screen has changed drastically. So it's now putting out front and center the menus that I would need to fulfill that role. And as I scroll down, you'll see that things have changed quite drastically. So the Role Center is quite a powerful tool that they've added in here that GP doesn't necessarily have. I'm just going to flip back to the Business Manager because it does access a lot of great menus. Just give me a second here. There's lots of role centers to choose from. The role center does not determine your security in the system. It just determines, you know, the role that it's tailored to. The other thing that Business Central has added is in this feature called personalize, and we'll see that, you know, throughout the demo. So the value of the personalize is that any window that you access in Business Central, you can personalize it to what you want to see. So if there's fields on a data entry screen that you don't use, you can personalize those out. And I'll show you that when we get to a data entry screen, how that can work for you. Then up here we have the search feature. And if I was to click on this search feature, I can start just typing like this, and all of a sudden I'm going to get a list of items. So I get some go-to pages and tasks. And if I look over here to the right, there's actually more. It'll always produce the top 3 results. But if I click show more, then there's other options here. And I didn't even fully type in chart of accounts. I just had to identify some characters that were in that field. And now all of a sudden I have a list of items there for me to look at. You can also access other reports. There's reports and analysis here. I can bookmark pages. So there's actually a little bookmark toggle here. And if I actually bookmarked this item, this will now show up in my bookmarks that I have here. So all of these items here have come because I've bookmarked them. So now let's take a look at the chart of accounts and how that's structured in Business Central. So chart of accounts, you can define as many digits here as you require, but it is only one segment. You know, as in GP, there's multiple segment GL accounts. Here you have one segment GL account supported by financial dimensions, and you can have as many dimension values to those dimensions as you wish. Business Central allows you 2 global dimensions, which get assigned to master records, and 6 shortcut dimensions. So you can really slice up your trial balance in multiple ways so you can get some really deep analysis from that. When we go into a bank, into a account setup, the nice thing that they've done here is that, you know, the same kind of setup features that you would have seen in GP for setting up an account exist. But what we can also do is we can determine whether the account type is a posting, a heading, total, begin total, or end total. And based on that, that's what's going to drive some of our reporting out of the system. So if you notice here, I have some accounts that are bolded, some that are indented in, some of them have actually the bolded and they're a total. That's being driven by this account type on the account setup itself. And what's nice about this is that you can actually create totals right off of this chart of accounts page. So you don't have to now export multiple accounts, go into Excel, or get out your calculator to find out the total of cash. I can just come here quickly and see that, you know, the balance in all of my cash accounts is this amount here. I can see my receivables. I could come here and see what's the total in my receivables count. So it's really quite nice that you can actually see that right from this list view. And this is one of the list views that is available in the system. It's actually something that you can filter on. You can come in here, and if you have some specific accounts that you want to filter on, you come in and you click on whatever your filter parameters are here, and you set them, and you can save this. So for example, I've saved up here that I want to see just the income statement accounts. So when I've created that filter, I've filtered on these accounts, and now that filter is saved for me, so I can come in here and just click on there and quickly see all of those accounts. I have another filter here for building maintenance expense, restricted to just these accounts. So it kind of works the way the favorite smart list works. You can have as many of these as you want, and you can toggle between any of them. Now this list view here, if I didn't want to see, you know, the general posting types and posting groups, what I could do is I could come up here, and this is how the personalized feature works. So I can come up here, I can add fields if there's fields on this view that I don't want. You can see there's a list of other fields that actually are ready to go that haven't actually been dragged onto my screen, but I can also take fields and I can hide them so that I can personalize the experience for me in Business Central. So I'm only seeing what I need to see. You can really eliminate the clutter. In GP, you really have no flexibility for that. You know, you could have a window that has fields that you never use, but they're always there. Business Central allows you to personalize that to your experience. And no 2 users have to have the exact same windows, because what I do in my instance of Business Central doesn't impact a colleague and what they see. Their personalized experience is tailored just to them. There is a design feature in Business Central. However, if there is a specific setup or a specific field that you want to ensure everyone keeps on their screen, that they don't personalize it out, and that can be done in Designer, and that is applied to the entire tenant. So every user in that company setup would have access to that structure. I can also open up things in Excel. You know, it's a Microsoft product, so you know Excel is going to work with it. And Business Central actually allows you to open in Excel, and it actually allows you to open as edit in Excel. And the difference here is that if I was to open in Excel, it'll just export the data to Excel, similar to what SmartList would do now. But if I were to choose edit in Excel, that is a really great tool for if you had to make a mass change to, a setting, for example, on a chart of accounts. You could actually publish this to Excel, and it actually will use your credentials to log into your Excel. You can make your changes, and you can actually publish those changes back to Business Central, all from using your Excel publisher. So this is a nice feature that GP doesn't currently have something as compatible to that. So this is a very powerful tool. And you would find you could use that quite a bit. As I mentioned, there's various different types of reports. There's trial balances, account schedules, things like that can be accessed right from this list page. If I was to go into the GL account categories, this is where the account type really starts to play into some of our reporting. So these account categories, the current assets, the fixed assets, all of those things, they align here. If I actually process and generate account schedules, now I can go in here and I have a list of various different account schedules that I can access. And if I was to click overview, for example, on the income statement, I can select how I want to view my income statement. I can view it by month, by day, by week, a quarter, a year. I can select a date filter, and I can come down here and now I can see my income statement. Further, I can select dimension filters. So right here we have two of the global dimensions that are set up in this demo environment, and I could actually come up in here and I could select a project if I wanted to see how how a specific job was actually impacting my income statement. I could come in here and I could add a filter for some of the other dimension values. For example, for department, I could say, I want to see how the sales department is doing and run an income statement just on that department. So they've made it quite simple and easy to access information, to filter information, and to really slice up your entire trial balance into ways so that you can make better business decisions. Journal entries. If I do a quick search, I can find general journals. This window here, or the way they've done journal entries here, there is something that's kind of similar to what GP has. GP currently allows you to copy and paste journal entries in. Business Central does that as well. And as long as you've got the layout of your columns here, you can actually come in, copy and paste your journal entries to make that much faster. Again, things can be edited in Excel. You can actually set up a journal entry, edit in Excel, add more lines, publish it back. So there's multiple ways to deal with high volume of journal entries in the system. There's a recurring general journal feature, which is also very handy for things like prepaid expenses, where you can come in here and you can identify the frequency as to how often this prepaid entry is going to occur. And then if I go in here, I can actually allocate out by percentage or by amount where that prepaid entry is actually getting split out to. And I've got a recurring frequency here. So if I actually post, I have it set so that right now the entry is March 31st. And if I was to come in here and post this entry, it now rolls over to April 30th. So it automatically will come in here and create that entry for you. And there's options here. You can make it a fixed or a variable. So if you want to change the amount, you can make it a variable entry so you can change it on a regular basis. Or you can just allocate from the balance of the account. And you can also do reversing entries through this method. Now I am going to show you, if I did a preview posting, what you can expect to see. So you can always preview your entries here, to see what you're going to get. You can put them in Excel. Anytime it's got an open in Excel button available, you can actually download that data into Excel. Now let's switch over into the customers and vendors. Customers and vendors, you're going to notice that the setups are very similar. So we're going to take a look at the customers and how they're set up. So if I was to come in here and look at a customer, and I'll just open this one up. You'll notice that, you know, all the pertinent information under the general tab exists. There's a show more, show less. So you can, again, limit what you see on your screen. I can come up and I can personalize. I can move fields around, you know, if I want to see this here. You really can tailor this to whatever you want to see and what makes sense for you and your business. So you set up the customer here, all of the address information you'd expect to see. You can have multiple contacts, the invoicing, you can set up, you know, different posting groups, you know, how you're paying them, you know, all that sort of thing, what the check format is. There's lots of features here. There's also supported dimensions for the customer field. So that's where I can set up those global dimensions for your business. And the one thing that I want to show you as well is that if I'm clicked onto this customer, there's a little box over here, what we call the fact pane box, and you can toggle it on and off just by clicking this little button. But what this actually offers you is some metrics about the customer. So if you click on here, you can see, you know, ongoing sales. You know, I can see some other statistics like balances and if there's any outstanding balances they have or things that are overdue or any payments. I can see all that information quickly here. There's also an attachments tab for here where I can actually attach documents. So I can actually go out and I could attach any kind of external document to this customer record. And if I wanted it to flow through to sales transactions, I can select that toggle here. So if I have, let's say, an agreement with this customer that I need to make sure flows with every document, as long as I've selected it here, then all posted transactions in the system to that customer will actually get that document attached to them as well. If there's other supporting documents or quotes or things like that, those can also get attached here. So what I want to show you here is this is a version of my Outlook screen here. And what I have is I have one of the customers that's in this GP or Business Central system, sorry, called the Office Depot that has emailed in and asked for a quote. So right now I actually am accessing Business Central right within my Outlook application. I don't even have to be in Business Central at the time. And I can actually pop out a window here. And now I'm actually accessing the customer card within my Outlook application. And from here, I would actually be able to produce a sales quote for this customer. I could come down here and I could actually produce the quote that they're asking for. And I'm working in Outlook. I'm not in Business Central at this time. So now based on this email that I received from the customer, I've now created a sales quote for them. And if I was to go back into Business Central now, you'll see that the sales quote has showed up here. Here's the 7 and the 2 that I've done. So there's where I'm talking about earlier with the live sync between CRM and Business Central and having sales staff out on the road doing a quote and Business Central getting that updated immediately. Like it was absolutely seamless. As I was working in Outlook, Business Central was getting that information. So from here, from the sales quote, right within this window, I can actually turn this into an order. And the screens will all look very similar. That's the nice thing about Business Central is the user interface is the same throughout any window that you work in, making that user adoption that much easier. So now I've created, this is now actually a sales order. And if I actually wanted to post this, now I can actually choose to ship or invoice or ship an invoice. And now I've all from the same window, I will have had all of this processed through and become an invoice. So it's a nice way to keep things organized. They do a really good job of the module in Business Central. The purchasing module works exactly the same. I can do purchase quotes, purchase orders, purchase invoice. I can start with a quote. I can turn that quote into an order, and then I can turn that into an invoice as well, all within the same windows. Business Central allows you to have as many bank accounts as you would like. If you have multiple bank accounts, that's not an issue. You can set up as many bank accounts as your business needs. If we navigate into the jobs module, which is like project accounting, but they call it jobs in Business Central. They do a really nice job of how they structure this this screen. So if I was to look at this job here, all the details about the customer information gets loaded into the top. And then down here, this is where it really is different, and it's clean, and it's really, really nice to work with. You can structure your jobs however you want to. You can have it, again, with beginning totals, end totals, select if it's posting accounts. You can make it much simpler. You don't have to have it this structured. You really can make it any way you want to. And within this window here, I'm quickly able to see when did it start. You know, it creates a budget off of these items here. It'll show the actual costs and the billable price and what's been invoiced. All quickly by looking at this snapshot on this first window, I get some good information about this particular job. If I navigate up to what they have as job planning lines, when I look in here, now I can see details of each of those task numbers that I had on the prior screen, and I can see what's making up those. So now I can actually see what resources are assigned, what items have been assigned, what GL accounts, all pertaining to that job. And I can invoice right from this window. As we scroll down on the jobs window, there is a work in progress window that's been added, which is also takes a lot of the headaches out of trying to calculate WIP at month end. There's various options of WIP posting methods, and in the system, they offer lots of different options. This particular job is set as % of completion, which tends to be one of the most common. And if I come down here and I actually go up and I say calculate WIP, now there's not a lot of great data here in the system, but it can actually show me, you know, what would the WIP entries look like if I was to post these for this job. And it actually will give you kind of like a preview post before you post it. So you can run this as many times as you want during the month end. It'll continue to update this field. When you want to actually post this to your GL, you'll actually would be able to come up and post the WIP to the GL. So it'll automatically, against those costs that are posted, the invoices that are posted, against the budget lines that are within those planning lines, it'll determine what portion of your revenue you can recognize and what you need to defer based on the % of completion. Business Central also works with multiple currencies. In this particular environment, I have 4 different currencies, Canadian being my functional currency, so nothing here. But I also have it set up so it can work with the euro, the Mexican peso, the US dollar. And this is where that exchange rate automatic feed to Bank of Canada comes in really handy. If I click on here on the exchange rates, I can actually see here's all the daily exchange rates from when we actually launched this version of Business Central back in 2018. And it's actually coming in, it's pulling in that information at the end of the day at what the trading rate is for the US dollar. And if I come up here to the to the reports, I can actually get a report on my foreign currency balance, which will show me if I have a recognized gain or unrecognized gain or loss, and then I can determine when I'm going to post that. So in this case, I have an unrealized gain of $2,000. And that's calculating that for you right within the system by connecting that to the exchange rate service. Now, as far as reporting goes, there's various different ways you can get details out. You can go to different list views. For example, if I was in the sales invoices and I wanted to see these, I could actually take these and post them out into Excel. If I was in purchasing and I wanted to see purchase invoices, I could put them to Excel. If I come to the home page, there's Excel reports that are available, balance sheet, income statement, cash flow. And some of these items, as soon as I click on these, it'll spit out to Excel an income statement, which is refreshable with data in real time. There's also out-of-the-box reports. For example, the income statement that comes here. And it produces a pretty decent looking income statement. Again, you can modify some of these reports to be more tailored to your needs, but these are just ones that come out of the box, which makes it nice and easy. Management Reporter does not come with Business Central like GP, so it's nice that the reports are included right within Business Central. There is also web services, which I mentioned earlier, where we can actually expose data feeds as well. So these are all the different data feeds that are sitting within this system. And if there's something here that I want to see, but it hasn't been exposed yet, I can actually come up and I can create a new data set. And if I wanted to create something on sales lines, for example, I could come in here and I could look up anything to do with sales. And maybe I want to actually select that one. Sorry, it's just taking a minute here. And if I click next, I actually have the option to select what fields I want to see. So it's kind of like Smart List Builder, how that works in a way where you're kind of selecting fields you want to have up ahead of time. And then I can select publish. And when I hit publish, what's going to happen is it's going to create an OData URL. And if I copy this OData URL and I open my Excel and select a blank document, and I can come up here to data and from other sources, an OData feed. And I can paste this URL here. And now it's going to connect to Business Central in real time. Okay. It should not do that. But what it will do is it'll connect to Business Central and you would be able to load this data. So now I have an option here. I can check load to, and I have the option of saying if I want to put it into a pivot table. And when it does this, it's actually going to allow me to now access all these fields in real time back to Business Central, and I can create a pivot table report. And once it actually finishes making the connection, it'll actually have a button will appear up here where I can actually refresh this back to Business Central. So as transactions are getting posted, I can hit refresh and I'm going to get real-time data. And now that URL becomes part of this list here as well. So I can go and access that again in the future should I need to use it. There are things called account schedules in the system for also pulling out data. Okay, we'll touch that one. And then there's analysis views as well, where you can actually, again, slice your data by whatever dimensions you have, that sort of thing. I also can connect to Power BI. So the Power BI app connects right away. And I can come in here, I've got some sample data here, but I could come in and I could see, you know, different things about customers, item sales dashboard, customer sales this month. And you can connect to Power BI. Again, those OData feeds, exposing the data, you can work with right in with Power BI, and you can really create some pretty powerful reporting tools that way. And I'm going to show you if I actually just one moment. It's just connecting my phone. You'll see there's the phone app here. I can connect to there. I can actually, you know, do pretty much any function that I was doing within the desktop application. I can do on my phone. I can do sales quotes. I can do sales orders. I can do all of that right here on my phone. So now that you've seen Business Central, I'd like to talk about what migration tools look like and if you decide to make the move. Microsoft's primary objective is to help ease the transition of customers to the cloud. So they developed a tool that helps us migrate on-premise data from GP 2015, 16, 18, all the up to Business Central. This tool saves a significant amount of time, and we have experienced success when we have used it. And for anyone using SL, it works the same way. The data that comes across using this migration tool is GL account and summary transactions, history, and open years, customers and open receivable transactions, vendors and open payable transactions, items and quantity on hand at the time the migration is run, supporting data like salespeople IDs, payment terms, shipping methods, segments and codes as dimensions, additional ship to and order addresses, sales, purchasing, inventory history data is brought over into Business Central in through the extension tables. So now let's talk a little bit about the GP to Business Central assessment program. At CRG, we have created this program to help our customers make a more informed decision about moving to Business Central. We understand that it's a big decision and not something that you can decide after attending a 1-hour webinar. The purpose of a webinar like today is to introduce you to the product and get you thinking about it. And then the assessment program takes you the next step. Our objective of the assessment program are this. First off, we'll provide you with a deeper diagnostic of what it'll take to get you and your environment to Business Central. We will provide you with an assessment review document which identifies what you use today and how those functions can be accommodated by Business Central. We also include any future state items and how we can achieve those with Business Central or other Dynamics 365 applications. We then set you up with a functioning trial tenant of Business Central using your data so that you have the opportunity to test drive the product like a try before you buy scenario. And finally, we provide you with information on how the cloud licensing model works and an estimated roadmap for implementation. Here's what the program looks like. Typically, it's a 5-step process. Step 1 starts with discovery. We need to know more about you and your environment. Step 2, we gather information from your team. We hold meetings and workshops so that we can get more information about your business processes. Steps 3 and 4 are the alignment and review steps. We stack up your current environment against Business Central. And finally, we close out with step 5, a management presentation to your team summarizing our findings. So let's take a look at these steps in a little further detail. In step 1, we start by sending you a short questionnaire. We ask you some questions like what modules you currently use in GP, what customizations, integrations, or third-party add-on products you're currently using, the size of your database, the number of users and licenses you have, and key reporting tools that you currently utilize. It also asks you what other Microsoft 365 products you currently leverage. We would also look to address your unmet business needs with your current setup so we can address those moving forward. It's not just an exercise of taking what you have and putting it into a new platform. It's finding ways to bring to life the solutions that take away pain points in your current setup and address future needs. Then we follow up the questionnaire with a scoping call to ensure we have all the information from you that we need to guide you with what assessment program fits your needs. Currently, we have 3 program assessments available: Rapid, Collaborative, and Enterprise. Each program is designed to accommodate different companies in terms of scale, and as you can assume, the more complex environment, the more time it takes to complete. Step 2 is about engaging your subject matter experts and your organization stakeholders. We'll document your business processes, and then we'll spend time talking about desired future state. For these sessions, it's critical that we have the right team members in attendance, and this can include your senior team as well as any key employees who interact with the system on a daily basis and really understand the challenges and processes. Step 3 of the assessment is one of the most critical parts of the process, the fit gap analysis. We'll align your business requirements against the functionality in Business Central. And once we do that, we'll have a better understanding of any gaps that arise. Then we'll look for ways to close those gaps. And finally, we'll look at and understand the data set that you want to bring across into Business Central so that we can make a recommendation of the data migration approach that's right for you and your company. This can happen one of 2 ways. We can recommend using the migration tool developed by Microsoft, or if your data requires cleansing before coming into the new product, we might recommend a more start from scratch approach where we extract the data from GP, cleanse it, and then load it into Business Central. Step 4 of the process, we review our fit gap analysis findings with you so that you understand the requirements and the overall fit with Business Central. We present a high-level scope of requirements and discuss with you your recommendations to close any gaps we have identified. We also provide an important part of an upgrade or migration, and that is a cost assessment, which includes the cloud license fees as well as high-level implementation estimates, including the level of effort to complete the migration. Currently, Microsoft is offering some significant incentives and discounts for existing GP customers. And our final step is the solution assessment presentation to you. And at this time, we also provide you with a demo of Business Central containing your data. We run the migration tool and bring across the data as it currently is in GP so that you can see what it looks like in Business Central. It doesn't cover everything, but it contains enough data for you to make a good assessment of how Business Central can work for you. And it really gives you a chance to really test drive the product. It also includes taking a look at some of the powerful insights that Business Central has, the KPIs, the various setups, the web services, the OData review. We offer 3 different levels depending on the size and nature of your business, as I mentioned earlier. Typically, we break it down as follows. The Rapid is for customers that have a limited to no third-party and customization environment. Collaborative, which is designed for 5 to 30 users with some third-party and customization. And finally, Enterprise for companies with more than 30 users who are operating in a complex environment and might require an enterprise product such as Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Operations as an option. If you have any questions around licensing or the assessment program, you can always reach out and ask us or enter a question in the chat box today. So let's take a look at how the licensing works. Microsoft has broken down their licensing model into 3 types. There's Team, Essential, and Premium. And unless you require service management or manufacturing, most users are covered with the Essential license. They also offer Team licenses for people in your organization who require light access or to be able to complete approvals for such things as timesheets. So if you think the timing is right for you to explore moving to the cloud, please feel free to contact us to discuss your needs further.
And we do have a few questions as well, Leanne.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay. So the first one is, can we set up workflow for approval of invoices, POs, entries?
Yes, you can.
And Where is the Azure data center located?
Currently, Canadian customers have the option of selecting from 2 locations. Right now, those locations are Toronto or Quebec.
Perfect. Next one, if we are not on GP 2015, how can we use the migration tool?
So if you are on a version other than the most recent version of GP, you do need to upgrade first, but what we do is we actually work with your test environment rather than production, so it saves time and cost.
Okay, and last one, do we need to have Office 365 in order to have Business Central?
No, you do not.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and thank you, Leanne, for that in-depth demo. In the chat box, I will just post the link to our migration page if you'd like any more information. You can also reach out to us through there, and you can also send us an email, which you'll see on the screen there if you want to ask any further questions. So thank you again for joining us today. Actually, sorry, we just got in a question here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. In what circumstances would data need cleansing?
So it really depends on, if you've had, let's say you've had GP for, a number of years, and now you have a lot of, you want to do some GL account cleanup, or you want to do some extensive vendor and customer cleanup. Sometimes, it's good to take the opportunity to start and cleanse your data before you move it in. The migration tool is only as good as the data that's coming through. So sometimes this gives you that opportunity to really strip down all of the unnecessary vendors and customers and maybe obsolete items if you're working with inventory, or if you've got accounts, GL accounts that you're no longer using. It's a good way to cleanse those out, so you're starting with a fresh template with just what is current in your business. That's kind of what the data cleansing references.
Perfect. Okay. So I think that is everything for today. Thank you very much again, Leanne.
You're welcome.
Have a great day, everybody.